welcome everybody. So good to see you this lovely evening, or hear you in time for our weekly meditation. Before we get started, I'm going to make a shameless plug real quick for an event that's coming up pretty soon. It's a webinar hosted by our very own Javier Payano, right here with us today. If you have any questions, he knows all the answers. And so it's Teach Human Values, a human-centered approach to classroom emotional health. So you can get PD hours for this for ISBE, which I'm guessing is an Illinois thing. So, and there's a whole description here. You can find it on, if you look up Teach Human Values, a human-centered approach, and on the Human Values website and everything. And I've taken several webinars from Javier and really enjoyed all of them and learned a lot from them. So I would very much recommend, if you're a teacher, which I'm a teacher in a public school, and I've greatly benefited from Javier's teaching, and Andrea as well. So really highly recommend, if you're a teacher of any kind, even if you're not a public school teacher, if you still consider yourself a teacher, take this class. Okay, let's get started on our meditation. I'm going to stop my screen share and hand it over to, who could it be but Javier Payano, for tonight's meditation.
Thank you so much, Eva. I'm very excited about that webinar, everybody. It is my first official training for Chicago Public Schools teachers. So, but anyone can join, anyone who's a teacher or wants to learn more about teaching human values is welcome to join. So I dropped a link there in the chat, and we'll make sure that that link gets into the YouTube captions and all of that good stuff in the newsletter. So if you're not signed up for the newsletter, send us a message and we'll send you the link to sign up for that. I love to start every session of meditation by creating an intention of why are we here doing this meditation together. And it occurs to me that we all have some part to play in the world. We're all here with a specific gift or a specific wisdom or knowledge that we're here to impart to the people around us. And there are a lot of unfortunate ways that we do business as usual, especially in education, as one of the main things we do in this organization of the Human Values Collective is to work on training teachers and providing emotional health services to students. So we recognize that there is harm done to impressionable young minds in school by teachers who really aren't receiving the support that they need. So the truth of the matter is that we all have something beautiful about life to make known to those around us in a way that only we can do it. And we could simplify this by saying that we all have a lot of love to give, and we have something to be made known about the mystery and the power of love in this world. And growing up through many cultures, many religious institutions, many educational institutions, we're kind of taught to look for the answers outside of ourselves, and that everything that is valuable is outside of yourself. And so a lot of us feel the need to ask for outside permission, approval, or validation in order for us to make decisions or to make changes or do what we need to do in the world. Now, other people are really good at making decisions, well, hopefully, really good at making decisions about their own life. But the true value of this work and meditation is for us to make a connection with that part of us that is inside of us, where our fountain of wisdom originates from. That we all have something very deep, profound, beautiful, universal, infinite, intelligent, wise, loving, deep inside of us. And that is the place that we're going to go to ask our questions and get our answers. And it feels safe to ask everyone else what I should do and just get someone else's answer and then do that. But what we're working towards is to make connection with that part of us that does not change, because our mind changes all the times and our feeling changes all the time. And we all here know what happens when we are just making decisions out of our mind that changes all the time and out of our feelings that change out all the time. So that's what's called building my house on sand. So the people who build their house on sand, who are only identified with their thoughts, their body, or their emotions on things that can change, life becomes messy. We start to overthink and we have difficult relationships and we have a difficult time at work or whatever we're contributing. Things aren't aligned. But when I make searching for that inside of me that does not change, when I make searching for that part of me my number one priority in life, you could say that I'm building my house on a rock. When I find the sense of safety within myself, that there is a deep and spiritual part of me, a non-physical part of my being, and when I can connect to that, and when I can ask questions to that, and when I can embody the values that are in there, I find a deep sense of safety, like nothing can hurt me. Nothing anyone else says or does can hurt me. And no matter what happens, I cannot be harmed. And when we connect with that power within us, we're truly able to show up without fear, heart completely open, giving love to everyone and everything without fear of being heartbroken. And that's how we want to move forward in this work, is to have a mechanism with which to connect to our inner human value. To our inner human value, that we're not thinking the values outside of us and we got to go find it. What we're looking for is within us. And we cannot miss out. Fear of missing out, huge. Big pain for me, fear of missing out. But the best, most awesome party happening is happening within us, so we can never miss out. How can I connect with that part of myself is a great question, Marjunel, and we're gonna practice several ways today. Because this part of us is not, it's not something that we can concretely define, and it's not something that's observable by a third party. It's not something that I can say, oh, I'm feeling it, Marjunel, can you feel it? No, because only you can feel what's happening inside of you. But what we can do is have these mental mechanisms to get us outside of the overthinking and back into a connection with the divine, or a connection with our spirit, or a connection with that part of us that can never change. The usefulness of a mantra to help us that's been used for thousands of years. So a very simple mantra that I've been using, especially lately, is one of the names of God, which is Ram. So Ram is a name of God in lots of Hindu traditions. If you've read the story of the Ramayana, this is about Ram. And in situations where I notice myself starting to overthink, which is all about safety, if I'm overthinking, I'm somehow in fear for my life. Even something seemingly inconsequential is threatening my well-being. So someone looks at me funny and I start to panic because maybe they don't like me. Whatever that spins out and turns into. I simply will start reciting Ram like this. Ram, 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 Ram. And all I'm doing is giving my consciousness or my attention, I'm giving it something else to look at in that moment when I'm overthinking. So I'm thinking about how this person doesn't like me, or I'm thinking about being at work and how this coworker is driving me crazy at work, or I'm thinking about how I don't have peace because when I come home, my kids are running around making lots of noise, or my mother-in-law said something and now I feel like an 8-year-old again. Whatever is coming up for us, a simple way is repeating a mantra, any mantra. But let's practice this mantra of Ram tonight. So maybe you're thinking of something that is upsetting you today. What is something that has upset you? Maybe you don't actually like your job, so that's feeling stressful. And underneath the stress is unsafety, right? Yeah, giving my consciousness something to look at in that moment that I'm overthinking. So you're taking your awareness away from whatever you're overthinking about and just putting it on your mantra. Let's try the mantra Ram right now. So we've had a moment to think of what is the thing that I'm overthinking about, upset about. What is the thing that thought does not produce peace in me? And let's just recite Ram together for a few minutes. Here we go. Ram, 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 Ram. And the idea is saying that alongside me so that it's coming from your own inner being. And we can use that practice as a waking meditation. So we all know the meditation. When someone says meditation, you're probably thinking about sitting in the corner on a cushion, sitting cross-legged on the floor in total silence, some incense burning in the background maybe. This isn't the only kind of meditation that we have access to, and for a lot of us, that kind of meditation is intimidating. And we can't take it with us into our job, especially if we have a job that we don't feel peace in or we don't like. What if we institute this practice of waking meditation? This is mindfulness. When you hear the term or the phrase mindfulness, they're talking about waking meditation. That means I don't need to go into the corner, sit in lotus position, close my eyes. I'm doing the meditation during my day, during my work tasks, and even sometimes while I'm interacting with people, even difficult people, maybe especially difficult people. So now I am going to speak to you for a couple of minutes. And while I'm speaking to you for the next couple of minutes, I'm asking you to practice reciting Ram. Or if you resonate more, you can pick one of the human values like love or peace or all five. And you can just rotate through those words as I'm speaking, starting right now. So here, the trick is you're already reciting. You're reciting Ram, or you're reciting love or peace or whatever it is. You're just saying that word over and over again as I'm speaking. And the trick is, do you know what the trick is? The trick is that you're still listening to my voice. Can you do that? You still listening to the words that I'm saying while you are reciting your mantra, while you are saying the word over and over and over again? Can you still listen to the words that I, Javier, am speaking? Are you absorbing the meaning of my words as you're repeating that word over and over again, whether it's Ram, whether it's peace, whether it's love, or whatever other word or name of a divine being? You're just repeating that word over and over again as I am speaking. And we're done. Good job, everybody. Okay, you can stop reciting or you can keep it going if you really enjoyed that practice. So here's what this is called. This is called CSI. No, CIS. Constant Integrated Awareness. Well, I totally jacked that up. Constant Integrated Awareness, CIA, that's what it was. I was thinking CIA, I went crime scene investigator on y'all, my bad. Constant Integrated Awareness, I learned this in Thailand. It is the waking meditation. It is while you are doing your other thing in life, while you are doing your job, while you are doing a task, for a lot of us, a repetitive task over and over again, while you are getting frustrated when you start to hear yourself overthinking, when you are triggered, let that trigger you into reciting your mantra. Let whatever that trigger is be your reminder to go back into the mantra. Because if you're like me, you get into certain social situations and then you start thinking about what the other people are thinking about you, or what you should be thinking about the other people, and you're not present anymore. You're already overthinking. So when you feel yourself overthinking or feeling unsafe or having anxious thoughts or whatever it is, you're going to give your consciousness something else to look at, just temporarily. And even reciting Ram for 30 seconds or 60 seconds already starts to elevate your consciousness. That repetition paired with your heart high five can already start to regulate your nervous system till you get to a place of calmness again. Repeating a holy name or repeating a word or a phrase or a value, because words are energy. And a lot of times in this healing work, there is this idea that we need to go in there and get the muck out of you. And I don't really subscribe to that. I think if we just keep pouring in more goodness and more goodness and more goodness into our vessel, then the waters within us will be purified through that goodness that we're pouring in. This is why in the light meditation we said, say only good things. The temptation is so strong, right? To chismear, to talk badly of other people. And I know for teachers, it is a gravitational pull in the teacher's lounge. Did you hear what Miss Anderson said to those children? I can't believe her. And many other examples, right? It's so easy to want to go there. And instead, we could do like my friend Coleman used to do. He would just laugh and smile. You couldn't get him to say anything negative about anybody. He would just laugh and smile. He would not be pulled into that. So we're making a commitment today as you feed that part of you, that infinite part of you with these divine words, with these beautiful human values. We're making a connection with that little light at the center of our being. We're going to ask it to help us to say good and kind things, good and kind words. We're going to ask for help that when we start overthinking or when we feel unsafe, to remind us to repeat our word, to recite our word. And we'll know when we can stop, when we're feeling that calmness again. I would love to make space for any questions at this point about constant integrated awareness, the repeating of a mantra or word in a situation to give our mind and our consciousness and our attention something else to look at in those moments of overwhelm. Any questions or thoughts or reflections?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes,
How
please.
how can I achieve or get to a point where I know that I have mindfulness or I can practice mindfulness?
Guess what, Marginel? You're already at that point. You're already there. There's no test or prerequisite that says that you can start practicing mindfulness. It's just a decision that you make right now. Do you want to practice mindfulness?
Of course.
Yes. So,
Something is happening. Something is happening within me that I've been like waking up. That's how can I
yes.
say it? Like
Yes.
waking up from the inside.
Mm,
And I've been dealing with the situation
mm,
basically in real life. You know that we all play roles in this world.
mm-hmm,
In the real life, my job is not what I want it to be.
mm-hmm,
So at this point in my life, I've decided to change that
mm-hmm.
and look for something that fills my heart, my soul.
Yes.
So I'm sharing this with you guys because I'm at a point that I have no idea how to feel, and
Mm-hmm,
everything inside is a mess.
mm-hmm,
uh, yeah. So basically, I made a choice, but I don't know how to control it inside.
mm-hmm,
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
that's basically my question.
Yeah, that's so good. Thank you for asking that. And I would love if there's some mentors on the call who would like to respond to, please, write something in the chat. We can hear from everybody. What immediately comes up for me, Marjunel, is you want a change to happen. So you have the choices of to go to a place of you're going to leave immediately and find something new, or you can go into a place of acceptance, radical acceptance. I don't like it here, but I'm radically going to accept where I am right now. And then I know that this is going to be a stepping stone to something that is even better. Now, if you choose to leave immediately, there might be some real life repercussions, like, until you find a new job, and maybe that's great for you and you can do that. The other way is to accept where you are right now, to stop fighting it, and sometimes things will change around you when you do that. But I do want to clarify one thing as we practice together in the Human Values Collective is to be impeccable with your word. And you had said a few moments ago, everything on the inside is a mess. Is that what you said? So I know not everything on the inside is a mess, because when I hear you speak just now, there's a lot of clarity, even though there may be some chaos and questioning where you are right now, how did you get here, and where you need to go to next. But even within that, you're saying that something inside of you is waking up, and I think that that is amazing and that is beautiful, and there's a lot of clarity there. So what helped me when I heard Eckhart Tolle say, everything that is happening for you is happening for your own evolution, that there are no mistakes. So you're in the place you are right now for a reason, and you're gonna want even better, and that's good, and that's so amazing. The only thing to do to say you want to practice mindfulness is you don't have to change how you feel. It's about being present to how you're feeling and say, oh, I'm feeling like this right now. And having enough space to know that that's just how you're feeling right now. That's not the whole entire 100% truth of the situation, but this is how you're feeling about the situation right now. And now, based on how you're feeling, what do you want to do? Do you want to stay there? Do you want to practice your spiritual practice in that job? And maybe something will change in that job, or do you want to leave and find something new? And then it almost doesn't matter what you choose, because you're going to connect with your inner being, your spirit, and you're going to make a divine choice. And the only thing to do is you're going to quiet your mind and open the heart so that you can connect with your inner being. And then it becomes clear what to do. No one else can tell you what to do. But practicing mindfulness, it quiets the mind, opens the heart, and it becomes more clear what to do next. I would love to make space for someone else to share in response, if that's okay with you, Marjunel. Yes. So Jason says the practice of mindfulness, helping to place people in a situation where they're practicing creating space to relate to their thoughts from a higher perspective. So it's like, yeah, you're in the tunnels right now. You can't really see very far in front of you. And then when you practice mindfulness, you're going to the top of the mountain, and at the top of the mountain, you can see so many opportunities. And what happens when we feel stuck or trapped, we don't feel like we have any opportunities. But when you climb to the top of the mountain and you look around, you're like, oh my God, I can go in any direction. I can go in any direction. And when we're in the tunnels, we don't feel safe, so it feels dangerous. But you climb to the top of the mountain, you quiet the mind, you open the heart, and then you can see that you have so many opportunities. And it's not what you do that's important, it's actually your state of mind and state of consciousness with what you do. So that's what I'm saying. You can experience incredible peace where you are right now, or you can keep your same state of mind, go somewhere else, and reproduce the same problem somewhere else. So should I stay or should I go now? Secondary. Primary is quiet the mind, open the heart. Eva, go ahead.
Yeah, quiet the mind, open the heart. Personal segue to the question of like how to sort of, how to achieve like a better connection to your own, inner consciousness and inner guidance. And I was uh really surprised today to hear you say, "Oh, well, something you could do is repeat the names of the human values." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's actually something I have been doing lately because recently I found myself in in kind of a similar place of like really wanting to like feeling a little confused about myself and like really wanting to grow and work on myself and something that I'm really working on is trying to kind of stay cool. And when I like get upset, I sort of created a little mantra for myself of like repeating the names of the human values. And I'll do that a few times. And that helps, I think, like the action of just like saying something over and over, the repetition of it, like Javier was saying, like is calming. But then also like that message itself, love, peace, truth, nonviolence, in red action. Then once I am feeling calmer, then it makes me feel more clarity on my decisions and helps me know what to do, immediately afterward from a place of love instead of a place of frustration or anger or anything like that.
Any other shares? Thank you, Eva. That is it, everybody, and we're working together as a community, to do this work together, to do this practice together, because it is a practice, and maybe your brain right now is going, it can't be that simple. I'm just gonna repeat some positive words in my head, and I'm gonna all of a sudden feel better. Yeah, maybe not all at once, and not the first time you do it. But to take our attention that was so fully focused on the problem and just taking for a moment and paying attention to something else will start to reduce the intensity. Because where attention goes, energy flows. Like a plant, whatever I keep pouring water into, water's my attention. What I keep pouring water into, that is what grows. So we want to give water to those plants that are growing what we want. Peace, and whatever that looks like for you. Thank you all so much for being here tonight. Eva, anything else before we close out our time today?
Sure. I'll just share very quickly. I won't go through it in depth. I'll just share the value of the week very quickly before we go. Here we are. The value of the week is truth, and the thought of the week is our habits make us, and the sub-value of consistency. Our habits make us. What springs to mind right now is exactly what we're talking about, doing meditation, doing mantras, and creating a habit of it, because where we're going to find real growth is in intentionality and in habit and in repetition. I'll keep it short since our meeting is a little on the long side today, which is still awesome. So be sure to sign up for the Value of the Week newsletter if you haven't yet, from the Human Values Collective. Thank you so much, Javier, Marjunel, everybody, Jason, for sharing today. And it was really awesome. I hope everybody has a really, really nice rest of your night, and I'll see you next week.